Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to report a correction to Appendix C. The administration have indicated that they want Councillor Byers to remain on the CES committee. So Council just note that change been reported by the administration. Councillor Byers is the Councillor Bush on that committee. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. So we move on to part 4. We're going to enforce motions. I now call upon the Conservative Group to state which administration motion will be debated.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Conservative Group is putting forward the motion in the name of Councillor Thomas on customer service.
Thank you. And I now call on the Labour Group Secretary to state which opposition motion will be debated.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll be debating item 14.1, the opposition motion in the name of Councillor Alan Schneiderman, climate emergency motion.
Therefore, I will then move to 14.1. Schneiderman, Councillor Alan Schneiderman, could you please move your motion?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Climate change is the most important issue we'll be discussing, not just tonight, but for years to come. We need to protect our future and the ability to live in a safe world, but we do need to act now. The United Nations says that we can only have just 11 years left to limit a climate change catastrophe. That's why Parliament has declared a climate emergency. The Mayor of London has declared a climate emergency, and now 168 councils from across the political spectrum have also declared a climate emergency. It's time for Barnet to do the same. Most of those councils are actually controlled by the Conservatives, including Wandsworth. It would be good if we could maintain that cross-party support tonight. Madam Mayor, nationally, the Labour Party has set out plans for a green industrial revolution. This shows that it is possible to use tackling climate change as an opportunity to create thousands of new, highly skilled green jobs and boost economic regeneration. But locally in Barnet, we can play our part by making Barnet carbon neutral by 2030 and sooner if possible. Work has started with funding from the Mayor of London for electric charging points, tree planting and air quality improvement projects. But, Madam Mayor, there is much more to do and that we must do in Barnet. That includes more recycling and the reintroduction of a separate food waste collection service. We need to make Barnet plastic free by eliminating single-use plastics. To reduce car use, we need to make walking and cycling safer. And we need to improve cross-borough orbital transport links, including the West London Orbital Line and Crossrail too. And to help save energy, insulate our homes and more, we need to appoint a council officer with responsibility for energy and sustainability. This can actually be done at no cost to the council using the carbon offset money raised from planning applications. Of course, as councillors, we don't have all the answers. That's why we also want to establish a citizens' assembly, representative of the whole borough, tasked with coming up with recommendations. Madam Mayor, we need to act right now to tackle climate change, which is threatening the lives of future generations. I hope we can tonight take the symbolic step of adding Barnet to the growing list of councils and governments declaring a climate emergency, and show that Barnet is committed to playing its part in taking the practical steps necessary to stop the damage to our environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I please ask Councillor Dean Cohen to speak with Councillor Mann?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, I would like to wish you and Richard very much success in your mayoral year. As noted in my amendment, Parliament has agreed a motion declaring the environment and climate emergency. This, of course, is a national issue, and what I would like to address tonight is what's been done, is being done, and what still needs to be done in Barnet. Barnet, of course, has led and is leading the way in a number of different initiatives to improve air quality, which is a key contributor. As I'm I'm sure members are aware, in 2017 we produced an air quality action plan, which is for the period 2017 to 2022. In total, 25 actions were outlined within the plan, and for 6 broad topics to include. Number 1, reduce emissions from development and buildings. Number 2, localised solutions. Number 3, improve public health and raise awareness of the cause of air pollution, delivering services and freight. Number 5, reducing emissions from council fleet vehicles. And number 6, incentives walking, cycling and cleaner transport. Madam Mayor, with my growing family, I personally may not be helping with reducing the carbon footprint within this borough, but there are many things that my committee have introduced and continue to introduce to improve air quality and reducing the carbon footprint. So what we've done today in regard to these areas. Number 1, we've announced and commenced a programme of planting 4,500 trees within the borough over the next 5 years. We have in excess of 100 electric charging points in the pipeline to be rolled out. In excess of 50 have already been installed, with 40 innovative charging points on lamp columns to be rolled out in the next couple of months. Number 3, the introduction of our own emission-based residence parking permits, which are now in the process of extending to business permits. Number 4, we launched Drive Now in the borough, which is a car sharing scheme that has proved very successful indeed. We recently signed an agreement with Beryl Bikes, which is a company that provides bikes to be hired to our residents. Number 6, you'll recall from last meeting that I announced that we will be replacing all lamp columns to LEDs in the coming months. Also, we're currently working on a plan to change our ageing street steam fleet to a new, cleaner and more efficient fleet of vehicles. And you will know about the school air quality audit. We identified 50 schools of which are within areas, 14 of which are within the remit of the TfL network. Madam Mayor, while money has been gratefully received from the Mayor to assist some of these initiatives, I've already mentioned tonight the ULEZ proposal, which the Mayor is proposing to bring in next year, is not likely going to help Barnet, but push the issue, emissions onto roads that will be outside the zone, at the same time have a negative financial impact on residents who can least afford to change their cars. Meanwhile, non-Barnet residents can continue to travel through the borough using the TfL network and have a negative impact on Barnet residents. Madam Mayor, I move the amendment in my name.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ann Clark calls as an amendment.
Thank you. Tonight, this chamber voted to limit public participation, and I think this is a disgrace. We must now embrace the residents of Barnet and show them how much we value their opinions and form a citizens' assembly on climate change. This isn't a time to rest on our laurels, but a time for collective responsibility. The time for dithering is over. We must now act. The climate change crisis is global, but we are well placed as Barnet Council to act and implement changes locally. The choices we make as individuals have an impact on our planet, but central government and councils need to regulate developers and polluters and drive clean energy strategy. By appointing an officer responsible for energy and sustainability, Barnet will be able to quickly bring about improvement to air quality and reduce our carbon footprint as a borough. The very best things in Barnet are resident-led, and a citizens' assembly should be just this. Residents making recommendations to Barnet and agreeing ways forward for our environment and the future we all share. We can take inspiration from Camden Council on this. Camden has already held their first Citizens' Assembly on climate change, and I would encourage all members to visit the Camden Climate Assembly website. An online map was produced, and all residents of Camden were invited to pinpoint issues. Many of these issues were on roads that border Barnet. A new plan for Camden's environment will be published in May of 2020. Residents tell me they are concerned about pollution from idling cars and the impact of having so many waste sites in Cricklewood. They also tell me they would like the speed limit reduced to 20 miles an hour in Childs Hill, and they want their food waste recycling back. All of these issues can be examined by a citizens' assembly. I look forward to ideas coming from our young people across the borough on their proposals for a cleaner and greener Barnet. By launching our declaration of a climate emergency with a high-profile speaker, we will show how serious we are about improving our environment and inspire residents to get on board. I move this amendment in my name.
for placing his trust in me 15 months ago. It's an immense honour to have this opportunity to serve a very special community that gave me a home and effectively a family when I arrived in London 10 years ago. I follow some honourable former members, Joanna Tamburudis, Robert Rams, Barry Evangeli, all highly venerated, and Bill Cohen, who I appreciate as like our members across this chamber. I promise not to leave East Barnet disappointed. Madam Mayor, we are Conservatives, and that means nothing if not conserving our climate and environment. Not by tokenism, but by action. I say not tokenism because it isn't productive for this motion to belittle other work that this council does. Council has recently passed very sensible motions on issues as important as this, on homelessness, police under-resourcing, air pollution, without resorting to the fashionably unhelpful designation of emergency. But notwithstanding that, all our amendment seeks to be is in the best possible way realistic. Barnet is a borough of optimists, and Councillor Schneidman's motion refuses to recognise the incredible progress we as a country have made to date. Back in 1989, long before Greta Thunberg, a local Barnet radical, one Margaret Thatcher, addressed and warned the UN of the insidious danger of climate change, of the irretrievable damage imminently posed by rising CO2 and industrial devastation, and she demanded a vast international cooperative effort led by the UK's example. 30 years on, that vision has been realised. Britain's had fantastic climate news already this year. The government's amended the Climate Change Act, scrapping the 80% target and replacing it instead by legislating for net zero CO2 emissions, not just in Barnet but across the country by 2050. UK emissions have already fallen 43% since 1990, faster than any other country on earth, and exceeding our own ambitious targets. The so-called bloomsters left largely unremarked the fact that in May and June of this year, the National Grid went nearly 3 weeks coal-free. We continue to fight an admirable fight now as we defend the Paris Agreement, and we will win just as we reverse ozone depletion. None of this is found complacent, and it's only to say that we are well on our way. Yes, there remain policy issues to resolve, from consolidating our energy mix to finding a new deal for insulation, but the direction must come from national government to combat an international problem. But it of course recognises its role catalysing national progress, employing emissions-based CPZ banding, offsetting carbon by planting 5,000 trees, pioneering electrical vehicles. And it's because of similar schemes of CO2 emissions in Barnet fell 40% between 2005 and 2016. This administration will now work enthusiastically with our friend, the new Secretary of State at DEFRA, to pioneer new initiatives to support and implement the government's green agenda locally. So, Madam Mayor, there's really no contention here. We're all agreed, I think, that the issue of climate change is a priority, one on which we're delivering, and I trust all members can support our motion.
I would now like to move over to Sarah Conway, please.
Thank you. Firstly, congratulations to Councillor Byers on his maiden speech. The Labour motion asks us to establish and support a climate change action group that includes local community groups, faith groups and local environmental groups. Here's the optimistic bit. In Barnet, we are fortunate to have some great community organisations working on this at the grassroots. In East Finchley, No to Plastics NT have recently run a petition against single-use plastic signed by over 500 people and are actively involved in initiatives with local schools and shops. Clitterhouse Farm has a wonderful community garden and a great creative focus on caring for the environment. The first interfaith iftar held in Burnt Oak this year used surplus food that would otherwise have gone to waste. There's an eco-synagogue campaign, and this year's Mitzvah Day launch in Golders Green focused on going greener. Barnet Multi-Faith Forum highlighted the importance of environmental issues at their recent AGM, and there's a Barnet Climate Action Group working with people across the borough. Finchley Central has become the home of the 32nd Energy Priority London, with New North London Synagogue, Finchley Methodist Church and Barnet Multi-Faith Forum, and many others, collaboratively designing, developing and looking after this environmentally supportive space. Here comes the negative bit. The Energy Garden is an initiative run by Repowering London, which highlights the key missing part from this Conservative Council's approach. And I don't just mean the transformative energy needed from a traditionally less than proactive administration. Looking through the growth and other related strategies, there is little or no mention of the type of low carbon and renewable energy systems other councils are already using or running. Stroud Council announced in 2015 that it had become the first local authority in Europe to become carbon neutral, ensuring all its electricity and heating comes from renewable sources and creating a local waste management company in partnership with neighbouring authorities, boosting its recycling rates to 61% and now sending the least waste per capita to landfill. Compare this to our borough's recycling rate of 33%. The removal of the food waste service and a basic lack of care for our local environment, with fly tipping at unprecedented levels on our streets and in our green spaces. Not to mention any reduction in single plastic use, even in the council chamber and buildings. And in my ward, residents remain deeply concerned about the risk of siltstream flooding. This motion asks the council to write to the Environment Secretary. Yet she is a member of the most right-wing of Conservative governments, whose push for a slash and burn no-deal Brexit would roll back our environmental standards and protection, making this council's pledge to deliver a cleaner, greener and more pleasant borough ever more unlikely. Meaningful action is indeed now urgently needed for Barnet and for Britain. The Tory amended motion is one of complacency, not emergency.
Who served council with dedication for 8 years. He had a serious and independent approach, even intense eventually of his political affiliations. He has certainly made his mark in many areas. I think it is actually the right way for me to have my maiden speech on climate change. With the heat wave that we had last week, with the weather that we have this week, and generally the increase in natural disasters around the world, we must, if not yet, take climate change seriously. As the Guardian wrote in an article last week on increasing threat temperature, and as the climate change awareness has been raised increasingly over the past decade, I'm sure we all can collectively agree the importance of preserving our environment and reducing the destroying impact this can have on our planet. I am pleased to say that London Borough of Barnet has been recently recognised and praised and awarded for its efforts. As part of the initiations, we have installed 40 lamp column charging points for electric vehicles, with another 40 to be fitted in autumn. A further 30 standalone electric vehicles charging points will be added to car parks throughout the borough this year. Each electric charging point will encourage residents to purchase more ecological vehicles and will result in reduction of harmful gas emissions such as carbon monoxide, which not only will protect our environment but also on air quality. Another example is the increasing investment in trees around the borough. Not only this is aesthetically pleasing to look, but it's extremely beneficial to the quality of our air and increasing oxygen levels whilst decreasing polluting gases such as carbon dioxide. 4,500 trees to be planted over 5 years to boost their quality, reduce the risk of flooding, replace aging trees and improve our parks. This scheme will add to 30,000 trees that we have on the streets and 164 acres of woodland that we manage presently. The new trees will help to reduce air pollution caused by vehicles near the major roads such as A1, A41 and A406. Although much work needs to be done nationally, I still think that Barnet is playing its part to minimising the climate change within the borough. Thank you very much indeed. So finally, can I please go to Councillor Schneiderman, who has the right of reply.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Tory amendment seems to recognise that a climate emergency has been declared in Parliament elsewhere, but I'm not quite sure why Barnet Tories here seem so reluctant to add Barnet's name to that. The Tory approach just seems to be complacent. We've planted a few trees, now let's bash the Mayor of London. I noticed that Councillor Cohen has removed our invitation for climate change activist Greta Thunberg to address us. I'm not sure if she'll take it personally. Maybe she prefers to be on the front cover of Vogue rather than Barnet first. Madam Mayor, we can't support the Tory amendment because it's simply too little, too late, and takes out some of the vital steps that we proposed, including the energy officer and a citizens' assembly. So I'd just like to make one last appeal. Let's have cross-party support for declaring a climate change emergency and then working together to take the necessary steps to tackle climate change.
Have some courage and let's do this together.
Votes be taken on the amendments in the name of Dean Cohen. All in favour? All against?
22, Madam Mayor.
That is agreed. Vote to be taken on the amendments in the name of Anne Clark. All in favour?
22, Madam Mayor.
All against?
37, Madam Mayor.
That is therefore agreed. Vote to be taken on the motion as amended by Dean Cohen. All in favour?
37, Madam Mayor.
All against?
22, Madam Mayor.
The motion is therefore carried as amended. We will move on to 14.2. I call